Hello everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel. I'm Paul, and today we are going to talk about a topic that is extremely important for beginners who want to learn English but feel confused, lost, or even a little frustrated because they don't know where to start or how to continue their learning journey, especially when they are trying to learn English at home alone without any teacher or classroom support.
Hello, everyone. I'm Lena. Yes, Paul, this is a very common situation. Many people want to learn English, but they think that without a teacher, coaching, or expensive courses, they cannot improve. This belief actually stops them from even starting.
That's true. I have seen many learners who wait for the perfect time or the perfect course, but they never begin.
Exactly, and that is the biggest mistake. The truth is, you don't need perfect conditions to start learning English. What you really need is a simple plan, regular practice, and a positive mindset.
So learning English at home alone is not only possible, but also practical.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, learning at home can be very powerful because you are in a comfortable environment where you can practice without fear, repeat things as many times as you want, and focus on your own pace without comparing yourself to others.
That removes a lot of pressure.
Exactly. When there is no pressure, learning becomes easier and more enjoyable. You can experiment, make mistakes, and improve without feeling embarrassed.
Many beginners feel shy while speaking in front of others.
Yes, and that's why learning alone at home is a great starting point. It gives you the freedom to practice speaking, listening, and reading without hesitation.
So in this video, we are going to guide beginners step by step.
Yes, we will break the learning process into simple and clear steps so that anyone, even someone with zero knowledge of English, can understand and start practicing immediately.
That sounds very helpful.
And one important thing I want to say is that learners should not expect instant results. Learning a language takes time, but if you practice daily, you will definitely see improvement.
So consistency is the key.
Absolutely. Even 20-30 minutes of daily practice can create a big difference over time.
That's very motivating.
Yes, and by the end of this video, learners will have a clear idea of how to learn English at home alone in a simple and effective way.
Great, let's move to the first step. Lena, let's begin with the first step. When someone starts learning English at home, what should they focus on first?
The first and most important step is to build a strong foundation of basic vocabulary, because vocabulary is the core of any language. Without knowing words, you cannot form sentences, express your thoughts, or understand what others are saying.
So words are like the building blocks of English.
Exactly. And beginners often make the mistake of trying to learn difficult or advanced words, thinking that it will make them sound smart. But this actually makes learning harder and slower.
So they should focus on simple words first.
Yes, absolutely. Beginners should start with common everyday words that are used in daily life. These words are practical and help in real conversations.
Can you give some examples?
Of course, words like eat, drink, go, come, sit, stand, sleep, work, happy, sad, food, water, friend. These are simple words, but they are used very frequently.
That makes learning more useful.
Yes, and learners should aim to learn 10 to 15 words every day, not too many at once. Learning slowly but regularly is more effective.
Why not learn more words in one day?
Because learning too many words at once can confuse the mind, and you may forget them quickly. It is better to learn a small number of words and remember them properly.
That makes sense.
Another very important thing is revision. Learners should review the words they learned every day. Repetition helps store the words in long-term memory.
So learning and revision go together.
Exactly. And the best way to remember words is to use them in simple sentences. For example, I drink water. I eat food. I go to work. This makes learning practical and useful.
That also helps in speaking.
Yes, and learners should also try to write the words in a notebook and read them daily. Writing helps the brain remember better.
So writing, speaking, and repeating all help together.
Absolutely, and another tip is to connect words with real-life situations. For example, when you drink water, say in English, I am drinking water.
That makes learning natural.
Yes, and when learners use words in their daily life, they remember them easily and start thinking in English.
That's very powerful.
Yes, building vocabulary step by step creates a strong base, and this makes the entire English learning journey much faster and easier.
Lena, many beginners believe that they cannot practice speaking English unless they have a partner or someone to talk to. What would you say to them?
I would say that this is one of the biggest misunderstandings. You do not always need a partner to practice speaking. In fact, you can make very strong progress even when you are completely alone, as long as you practice in the right way.
That's interesting. So learning alone does not stop speaking practice.
Not at all. In fact, practicing alone can be very helpful because you feel more relaxed, you don't feel judged, and you can take your time to think and speak without pressure.
So what is the easiest way to start speaking alone?
The easiest way is to talk to yourself. It may sound unusual at first, but it is a very powerful method. You can describe your daily activities in simple English.
Can you give some examples?
Of course, for example, you can say, I am waking up. I am brushing my teeth. I am eating breakfast. I am going to work. These are simple sentences, but they help you build a speaking habit.
That sounds very practical and easy to follow.
Yes, and the goal here is not perfection. The goal is to start speaking without fear. Even if your sentences are not perfect, you are still learning and improving.
Many learners feel shy, even when they are alone.
That's true, but they should try to overcome that hesitation slowly. One very effective method is to practice in front of a mirror.
How does that help?
When you stand in front of a mirror and speak, you can see your expressions, your body language, and your confidence level. It feels like you are talking to someone.
That's very useful.
Yes, and it builds confidence step by step. At first, you may feel uncomfortable, but with regular practice, you will feel more natural.
What about pronunciation?
Pronunciation can be improved by listening and repeating. You can watch simple English videos, pause after each sentence, and repeat it aloud.
So it's like copying the way native speakers talk.
Exactly. This helps you understand how words are pronounced and how sentences flow naturally.
How much time should beginners practice speaking daily?
Even 10 to 15 minutes daily is enough in the beginning. The key is to practice regularly, not occasionally.
So consistency is more important than long hours.
Absolutely. When you speak every day, even for a short time, you slowly build fluency and confidence.
That's very motivating.
Yes, and over time, speaking English will become a natural habit instead of something difficult.
Lena, now let's talk about listening. Many beginners say they can read a little English, but they struggle to understand when someone speaks. Why does this happen?
This happens because they are not used to the sound and speed of spoken English. Reading and listening are different skills, and both need separate practice.
So knowing words is not enough.
Exactly. You may know many words, but if you don't practice listening, you won't recognize them when someone speaks quickly.
That's a common problem.
Yes, and that's why daily listening practice is very important, especially for beginners who want to improve quickly.
What should beginners listen to?
They should start with simple and slow English content, such as beginner-level videos, slow conversations, or basic audio lessons.
Why not listen to advanced content?
Because advanced content can be too fast and difficult, which can confuse and demotivate learners. It's better to start simple and gradually increase the level.
That makes learning smoother.
Yes, and one of the best techniques is active listening.
What does that mean?
Active listening means paying full attention to what you hear. Instead of just playing audio in the background, you should focus on understanding each word and sentence.
So it requires concentration.
Exactly. Another very effective method is listen, pause, and repeat. Listen to a sentence, pause the audio, and repeat it aloud.
That helps in both listening and speaking.
Yes, it improves pronunciation, fluency, and confidence at the same time.
How much time should beginners spend on listening?
Even 15 to 20 minutes daily is enough if done consistently.
So small daily practice can bring big results.
Absolutely. With regular listening, your brain becomes familiar with English sounds and you start understanding naturally without translating.
That's very powerful.
Yes, and over time, you will notice that you can understand conversations more easily and respond faster.
Lena, let's talk about reading. Many beginners ignore reading. Is it really important?
Yes, reading is very important because it helps learners understand how English sentences are formed. When you read regularly, you start noticing patterns, word order, and how ideas are expressed.
So it improves grammar naturally?
Exactly. Instead of memorizing rules, you learn grammar by seeing real examples. Beginners should start with very simple content like short stories, easy books, or basic articles,
Why simple content?
because understanding builds confidence. If the content is too difficult, learners feel frustrated and lose interest.
Should they read silently or aloud?
Reading aloud is better in the beginning. It improves pronunciation, fluency, and confidence at the same time.
What about new words?
If you find new words, note them down and try to use them in sentences. This helps you remember them easily.
So daily reading helps in multiple ways.
Yes, even 10-15 minutes daily can improve your English step by step.
Lena, many learners start learning but stop after a few days. How can they stay consistent?
The best way is to follow a simple daily routine. A routine turns learning into a habit, and habits make progress automatic.
Can you give an example?
Yes, beginners can follow this easy plan. 10 minutes vocabulary. 15 minutes listening. 10 minutes speaking.
That doesn't seem too difficult.
Exactly, it's simple and practical. The goal is not to study for long hours, but to practice every day without skipping.
What if someone misses a day?
That's okay. They should not feel guilty. Just continue the next day and stay consistent.
Any tips to make routine easier?
Yes, practice at the same time daily and keep your goals small. This makes it easier to follow.
So consistency matters more than time.
Absolutely, small daily efforts lead to big results over time.
Lena, one of the biggest problems beginners face is lack of confidence. Even if they know some English, they hesitate to speak. How can they overcome this?
That's a very common issue, Paul. The first thing learners need to understand is that confidence comes from practice, not from perfection. You don't need perfect English to start speaking.
So they should start even if they make mistakes?
Absolutely. Making mistakes is a natural part of learning. Every mistake teaches you something new and helps you improve.
Many people feel shy or afraid of being judged.
Yes, but when you are learning at home alone, you have a big advantage. You can practice without any fear. You can speak freely, repeat sentences, and improve step by step.
What are some simple ways to build confidence?
Speak in front of a mirror. Practice daily with simple sentences. Repeat what they hear in videos.
So small steps can make a big difference.
Exactly. Also, speak slowly and clearly. Don't rush. When you take your time, you feel more in control.
That reduces nervousness.
Yes, and over time, regular practice makes speaking feel natural. Confidence grows automatically.
Lena, before we finish, what final advice would you like to give to beginners who want to learn English at home alone?
My biggest advice is to stay consistent and be patient. Learning English is not something that happens in one day, but with daily effort, you will definitely improve.
So consistency is the key again.
Yes, even 20-30 minutes daily can bring great results if you stay regular.
What about motivation?
Learners should set small goals, like learning a few words daily or speaking for a few minutes. Achieving small goals keeps you motivated.
That's a great idea.
Also, enjoy the learning process. Don't treat it like a burden. Choose topics you like and make learning fun.
That keeps interest alive.
Exactly, and most importantly, believe in yourself. Anyone can learn English with the right approach and regular practice.
That's very inspiring.
Yes, just start, stay consistent, and never give up.
Thank you everyone for watching.
Keep practicing and improving.
See you in the next video.
Bye, everyone.